Good morning, welcome to one of my channels, whether it's Ag Talking or Raw or One Lonely Farmer. I'm not sure where I'm going to stick this. I might just stick it in my ass if I can't get the lighting right. A little better? Yeah, that's a little better. Ain't great, but it's okay. Yeah, let's see if we do this. Maybe we can get a little more light up in here. Just bear with me, please. Of course not. Let's see, we expand that. Keep expanding. Am I getting brighter? Am I getting brighter? Oh yeah. Okay, so you can see that my eyes are blue. All right. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to ask a question here, and I'd like you to actually put it in the comments below. And the question is, are you sick and tired of rioters, BLM, Antifa, and all these other idiots that are running around burning our towns down for people that get killed for being stupid? George Floyd was an idiot. The guy in Wisconsin was an idiot. The guy that was wielding a knife and coming at a cop was an idiot. And they allow these people to riot and go crazy and act like a bunch of wild monkeys that they are. Do you think that that should stop? It should stop. I feel that it should stop. It needs to stop. So put your comment down below here. And I'm going to tell you something, because the world is going to be shocked as to what I'm about to say, possibly. People that know are not going to be shocked. People that have been thinking this will think a little harder about it. But this is pretty bad. I mean, it's pretty bad. Okay, so when I was in North Carolina, the George Floyd thing was being allowed to go nuts and rage and do whatever, and Seattle was under siege from a domestic terrorist group, and what did they call themselves? CHOP. And they took Seattle and just a couple of city blocks. They burned down the precinct. They were going to destroy federal buildings until the president came in and says, "You're not going to destroy our federal buildings. We're not going to allow it to happen." So guess what? We're coming in. And they had the right to do that, to the dismay and against the wishes of the state officials that refused to allow the federal government to get involved in the matter. Well, when there's federal buildings involved, they're allowed. So the federal government comes in and they're like, you know what, water cannons, bean bags, and rubber buckshot, tear gas, the whole 9 yards, and within a half an hour they all just went home to their mommies because they just got out of the basements that they were in. I have no respect for these Black Lives Matters people. Maybe in the beginning when they were upset about being mistreated and stuff. There's a reason they're being mistreated. I mean, look at the way they're acting. Antifa, same thing. Look at the way they're acting and how they are behaving on the world stage. People can cry and complain that President Trump is embarrassing us in front of the world stage, on the world stage, and people think that, oh, the United States, what a bunch of assholes. They elected Donald Trump for president, and there you go. Bob's your uncle, as they would say. I don't think Donald Trump is an embarrassment to our country. I think what's an embarrassment to our country is that we have a House of Representatives that impeached a president under false pretenses and now refuses to speak about it because they're up for re-election. Some of the ones that were the matriarchs in this thing. And if they speak about it, maybe some of the people in their party that were duped into thinking that the president had done these horrible impeachable offenses. That's what I made from my hearing aid battery tags. These horrible offenses that they impeached him for were actually false. They were lies. They were brought on by false lies to begin with that were known false lies. And there are some people that are running for cover on this thing. Like, wait a minute, this was never supposed to be found out. We were supposed to win the Senate and drop this whole entire thing. And the House of Representatives is ours, and we could have killed it there, but We can't, because the Senate and the White House are being run by people that they attacked. Now, possibility of Joe Biden becoming the next president, I don't think that it is a great possibility, but it could be, under false pretenses. I mean, why would they start to be honest now? Why are they pushing for a voting system that a large number of us don't want? I'm not voting by mail. Even if it's the only way to vote by mail, I'm going to figure a way out else to do it. And this vote by mail is pretty much primarily a Democrat idea. Now, if you look back on the history of mail-in voting, even the Democrats like Jerry Nadler. Jerry Nadler is, a pretty powerful man down in Washington. I think he's a feeble old man now. But when he was young and new in Congress, he was there, and he was talking about how it would be so corrupted to use vote-in or mail-in ballots that it could never happen. But yet here he is today in a climate that is, do anything to get rid of the current administration, and he's all for it. And that's the crazy thing about the Democrat Party is, and they can rally their people. They call that gaslighting. Okay? And I didn't know what gaslighting was, so I educated myself on gaslighting. Gaslighting is when you say something that pleases a bunch of people, like a group of people. So the large group of people, the majority of your party. It pleases the majority of your party to say something. And then the minority within your party that says, no, but you need the minority in order to capture your goal. So you need that majority. But the minority, you got the majority, and you need the minority, because the minority is the one that pushes you over the top. It's like pushing a car that's out of gas, and you got 5 guys that were in the car. Those are the majority. Those are the people that want that car to get over the hill so that they could get to the gas station at the bottom. The minority are the 5 out of 100 people that are on the sidewalk watching these 4 guys push the car. So those 5 guys, they're gonna 5 out of 100 are going to run over and push it over the hill so these guys can get their gasoline. That's what they need. So they say something that at first to appease, to capture the majority of people. Republicans do this, Democrats do it, Independents, they all do it. They all do it to a point. Now, the demon rats have really perfected this. So we're going to end fracking. We're going to stop we're going to stop greenhouse gases and all this stuff. This climate change thing is a ginormous waste of time and money, because our climate has been changing forever, since the dawn of time. If it had stayed the same, we'd be in a lava flow right now. So we've got this thing going on here, this person who is saying a lot of things to get the majority. He's captured the majority. They're going to vote for him. The majority of their party is going to vote for him. But now he's got to go after the minority. So this is where the gaslighting thing comes in. So he stands up and he says, Donald Trump, meaning Donald Trump, the president, we'll just leave the name out. The president is lying about me, is saying that I'm going to do this. And the only reason that it's out there is because the president is lying about me. There's no way I'm going to end this, and there's no way I'm going to end that. Okay, so you've got that minority group that are like, yeah, I heard that before, because it was like 6 months ago. Excuse me. It was like 6 months ago. I heard that before. And now my party is telling me that it wasn't him that said it. It was actually the president that said it. Okay. Yeah, no, we can't have that. What about my family that lives in Scranton, Pennsylvania, that mines coal or whatever, the Virginia people and all these people that do these gas drilling and well drilling and coal mining and steel workers and all this stuff. So they thought they heard him say that he was going to shut it down. They really don't want to listen to the other side, like Donald Trump. Donald Trump, why do they campaign? Why do they go to these places? Well, they go to these places and people will say, hey, you know what? Donald Trump's going to be in our town. Let's go check him out. And they'll come from 20 towns away and they'll just show up and they'll be like, hey, you know what? He's actually strumming the chord that I like, you know, or vice versa. But there are no Democrats that are going to go to OAN, Fox, or any other news outlet, Blaze TV. They're not going to go to those news outlets to see what the truth is. Now, Fox bends the truth more than any of them. If you really want to know the God's honest truth, just watch OAN. OAN is probably, the lights went out, is probably the most accurate that you're going to get, non-biased television program. You know, to me it is anyway. I mean, Fox is fun, but it's they point out the conservative view, whereas everybody else is like, no, Donald Trump is Orange Man bad. That's what they're saying. Orange Man bad. You need to stop watching the Orange Man. So this gaslighting goes on, and that is to capture the votes of the minority of your party, the people that don't. Now, the minority could be the majority the next cycle around. You know, it's just like this shifting blob of people. So you say one thing that makes me happy, and then I'm like, oh, I'm going to vote for that guy. And then 6 months later, I'm done listening. I've already made up my mind. I'm voting for this guy. So we can just put those to the side, and now we can start saying things to the people that are like, I don't like that, you know, and then flip-flop it and then come out with, oh, yeah, well, like mandatory masks. Okay, so Joe Biden comes out and says mandatory masks. I don't want to be mandated to wear a mask. I mean, it might be the responsible thing to do, and I do wear a mask when I go into the store. I don't wear one when I'm in my car or tractor because that's just retarded. I've even seen a guy out mowing his grass with a mask on. Now, that could be because he doesn't want to get the mold spores and dirt and dust in his lungs, which is fine. You know, it's his choice, but he looks ridiculous. All right, so anyways, this mandatory mask thing, well, he got some pushback from that. Like, hey, it's actually unconstitutional. You can't mandate something like that. We are free people. We are a free people. We have freedom of choice, freedom of religion. And if we choose not to wear a mask around, that's fine. Now, people that own businesses could mandate that before you come into our business, you have to wear a mask, which is the way it should be. The government should not be involved in that. They should make a suggestion like, hey, if you don't wear a mask, you know, if you have people come through your store and they're not wearing a mask, we're not going to shut you down or anything because that's bullshit. That's wrong. But it's a health thing, so let's say we all come together and do it. And I don't like masks. I borrowed my wife's mask the other day. Whoa, they smell bad. I mean, and you know what I'm talking about. If you've worn one of these masks, it's like every bit of bad breath that could possibly come back on you is like, the aroma is just staggering. I mean, if they could bottle that, like fart spray. You remember back in like the 80s, the prank stores used to sell this stuff called fart spray. But fart spray, we could do mask spray. That is just a putrid smell. So anyway, that's that. So back to BLM, Antifa, and all these other organizations. They are gearing up to do mass rioting if Trump is reelected, if the president is reelected. I just drove from New Jersey to Nebraska and back again. Did it in 54 hours. We averaged 50 miles an hour, even with sleeping. We did sleep in the truck, you know, just because I'm not renting a hotel room when I can just sleep for a couple hours and then get going again. And I'm going to tell you how many Biden signs I saw. I saw 2 bumper stickers and 1 Biden sign out there. Now, when I come to New Jersey, that doesn't count because I live here with the people that come from the area in which they feel that that he is the better choice. I should say that. But everywhere I went, all the way out and back, if signs were a gauge of what the election is going to be like, we're going to be dealing with rioters. Now, the rioters have already, or the organizers to the rioters have already stated that they're going to riot. They're like, yeah, we're going to riot. And here comes my wife. What is she wearing? Ooh. What are you wearing? Baby.
What?
I see your butt. Oh, yeah. The phantom wife. Yeah. Anyhow, if that was a gauge, whatever. Let me get back to this thing. Okay, so they're organizing these protests, or they're going to riot. It's not even going to be protesting. They're peaceful. The Democrats' version of peaceful protest. People die, homes get burned, and all this stuff. Well, now they're talking about, the Electoral College. I mean, if it goes the same way it did the last time, where Donald Trump wins and he's not the popular vote, and the Electoral College goes and elects the president, they're going to riot. They're going to burn down the places in which got him elected. That means, i.e., the countryside. Small towns. They're going to go to these small towns. Well, this is where things are going to get shocking. We're getting sick and tired of it. I'm getting sick and tired of it. And I'm not saying just the color of my skin. There will be black folks that are like-minded like me and the other countless millions of Americans that are getting sick and tired of a bunch of spoiled little snot-nosed brats that are running around burning and beating and killing people. Getting sick and tired of it. And there's going to come a point when they come to our town and we're going to confront them. And we're not going to confront them nicely. We're going to stack bodies. Right? This is what's going to happen. They come onto my farm and attempt to burn anything, I'm killing them. I will defend my farm, my property, with their lives. If they come at me with guns, I see a gun, they're down. I don't care. If they shoot me, then I died defending my life, my family, my farm, my business. I am really quite shocked that people in these towns like Minneapolis and the one in, what the heck is it, in Wisconsin and Portland, why didn't these people defend their homes, their businesses? Back in the 80s when Rodney King got the shit stomped out of him, they went into Koreatown in Los Angeles and they were going to burn it. Well, guess what? The Koreans had guns and they didn't take no shit. They didn't lose a building. They didn't lose a business. They defended with their constitutional right to keep and bear arms. Okay? That's what they did. Now, silently and maybe even more loudly, people have been running to gun stores, purchasing firearms and ammunition. They've been practicing. I hear the gunshots at home. Been practicing and gearing up for this thing. And my personal choice for a BLM Antifa invasion would be a 12-gauge shotgun. Don't buy 3.5-inch Magnums. Don't buy 3-inch Magnums. Buy good old military-grade 00 buck. Number 4 buck would be a little bit better because I think that has 24 pellets in there. And that's going to be like a whole hornet's nest coming at you. So that's what you really want to use. If you get into close-quarter combat with these idiots, a slug barrel with buckshot. Now, why would I say that? A slug barrel with buckshot, number 4 buck. Number 4 buck in a slug barrel, a rifled slug barrel. You have a short barrel with a twist to it. Okay? So when it gets close, the more accurate you have to be. And in a panic situation, accuracy really isn't, unless you're trained, accuracy really isn't on the priority list. I mean, you got a bunch of monkeys coming at you with knives, guns, and fire, and you need to take care of them. Pick up the slug gun with the buckshot in it. Take the plugs out. We don't need 3 rounds. You get 6. You can get magazine extenders up to 9. But when that slug or that buckshot goes through that twisted barrel, it sprays outward. So you get 27 rounds, 27 pellets out of one shot. You're going to hit something. You're going to hit something and they're not going to like it. You will lay down, you will stack bodies. Okay, so when Antifa comes to your town and they decide that they're going to take you out because you voted for a guy that they don't like, which is not the democratic process. The democratic process is that we vote for for a new leader every 4 years. We should be voting for everything every 4 years, new Senate, new Congress, and new House of Representatives, all that stuff. Every 4 years there should be term limits because we have swamp monsters. I love the swamp monster theory. They are swamp monsters. And there's swamp monsters on both sides of this party, of this whole thing. There's not just Democrat swamp monsters, there's Republican swamp monsters in there as well. Now, some swamp monsters will morph and form into the party that is elected. So if it's the Republican Party, and let's just use the Republican Party right now, because Donald Trump is a Republican and he's a Republican president, there are Republican swamp monsters in there. Mitt Romney is a vocal one. He's a stupid swamp monster. There are some others that went to the Democrat convention and they stood up and said, yeah, well, I'm a swamp monster too. And we've been here for 20 years. We've been here for 10 years. We've been here for 15 years. And we don't like the policies of this president because we're not lining our pockets. And they all line their pockets. You don't know any senators, any congressmen, any senators that have not lined their pockets with government handouts. And they're not even government handouts, government contracts. And this is how this works. See, as a senator or a congressman or woman, senator, congressman, senator woman, senator man, senator, congressman, woman, you cannot have interest in a company that directly profits from the government. So why have we been in an endless war since 1990? I mean, literally an endless war. We've been in Afghanistan, Iraq. We've been in Somalia. We've been all over the place. Why have we been in these endless wars? Well, there's a reason for it, because there's a lot of congressmen and a lot of congresswomen that have companies that make machines that make the machines for war. It's like 1 to 2 times removed. Dick Cheney, back in the early 90s, he invested or started a company that built parts for metal detectors. Okay? 2001 comes along, and guess what? There's metal detectors everywhere. They're in schools, they're in malls, they're in every facet of our lives. We have to go through metal detector. Even in the Philippines, you got to go through metal detectors. So they become uber wealthy building these machines. John McCain built machines. He was involved in a company that built machines, that built different machines, that built weapons of war, missiles, and I think he had something to do with bombs, smart bombs and stuff, computer chips and stuff for military grade weapons. Okay, so that's how they produced their money. The Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, her husband is real estate. Okay, and because she is not real estate, or he is not a congressman. He works in real estate dealing with government properties, and he's made a lot of money doing that. The what did they call that? When they, oh God, what was the name of that? The land management. In land management, they were all involved in that Chinese company going to come out and put in 200,000 acres of solar panels in the United States on federal lands that were that's why they were kicking those ranchers off of the ground. And so they all made money on that. Ilhan Omar goes from a bartender to a millionaire. She's a millionaire because after a certain period of time, you're allowed to keep all that campaign money that you raised After 5 years, you're allowed to keep that campaign money. And when you campaign again and you get more money that way, not only are you getting a salary, you're getting more campaign money. So that's why a lot of these guys, they get millions and millions and millions of dollars brought in to their accounts for campaigning. And then when they realize that they're losing, like Camel Toe Harris, she realized she was losing at Iowa, so she bailed out. She didn't put up one more ad. She didn't do anything. All right. So Camel Toe Harris suspended her bid for the presidency. Okay. So she suspended her bid for the presidency so that money would continue to come in case she decided to reopen her race. So money kept coming in. Whether it's a $10 bill that came in after that or $10 million that came in after that, she's allowed to take a percentage of it for the cost of living because she didn't get the job she wanted. And then on the 5th year, she's allowed to, that money's hers to live on, to spend, to go do whatever. And the same thing with Barnabas Sanders. He's a flat out socialist. And if you go back in YouTube archives, you can see where Bernie Barnabas Sanders won I think, what was he? Was he the governor of Vermont? Or he was some damn thing at the beginning. He ran as a socialist. A flat-out socialist. He was not a Democrat. He was a socialist, and they elected him. And there he sits. He's a senator. Senator Barnabas Sanders. Bernie Sanders. So, yeah. He would have been a front runner for the Democrat Party as a Democrat, even though he is a socialist. He had to flip-flop to get that congressman's seat, because if he would have said, I'm a socialist, I'm running on the socialist ticket to go to Washington, he probably would not have gotten elected to that position. So you just change to Democrat, which isn't too far off at this point, and you run, and then you sit there for 30 years. I don't know how many years has Bernie Sanders been down there. It was in the early 80s, late 70s when he became, I want to say he was a governor of Vermont, but now he's senator, Vermont, deep in the Vermont woods. So anyway, BLM, Antifa, all these people, if the president, or when the president is reelected, and I feel he will be, they come out to the countryside, I believe that the world is going to go to shit. There's going to be literally street warfare. And that's just my take on it. I'm prepared. I don't know if the majority of people are prepared, but, your AR-15 is great, for long distance stuff. Street warfare, buckshot. Use a 12 gauge. You use a 20 gauge. I mean, it's fine. Buckshot. Use birdshot if you don't want to kill them, but if you don't kill them, then you got to deal with the lawsuits of their disfigured, or if they survive, their disfigured faces and legs and limbs and stuff. So, buckshot. Take them down, put them down. Let them bleed out in the street. It's your life or theirs. They don't care about your life. They don't care. They want you out of your house so they can take it over. And they displayed that in St. Louis when they went into that gated community and a man and a woman came out with an AR and a pistol. And what did they do? They took the AR and the pistol away, which is wrong because those people have the right to defend their home. They were within their property. Those people were there saying, get out of your house, leave your house, we're taking your house, this community is ours, your community is ours, leave now. They're there chanting and being wackos. Now, if they would have bum rushed him and he shot him, that would be okay in my book. That's called defense. And they took his firearms because he was waving a firearm in public. He wasn't in public. He was in his front yard. He was on his front yard. It's illegal to carry a firearm here in New Jersey. If you get on a public road or a public place with a firearm in your pocket or on your hip, you will be promptly arrested and thrown in jail. Your gun will be taken away, and you will have 10 years in the slammer. But the little known fact is you can strap that bad boy to your hip on your own property, and there's not a fucking thing they can do about it. Now, a neighbor can see you with a firearm strapped to your hip and call the police, and they'll come out and say, "What are you doing with the firearm? It's my property. Get the fuck out of here." Get out of here. I can do whatever I want. It's because it's your place. So, anyway, I guess I've rambled on long enough. But if you're sick and tired of this BLM Antifa crap, and you're not going to take it when they come to your town to burn down your farm, your town, your business, and you're just going to start stacking bodies like I will, just answer down there in the comments section. I'm not going to let them destroy what I've worked for. Sorry. And if I get arrested and they come up with some idea that I waved a firearm in public, I guess I'll have to defend myself against that. Or I murdered people that were coming to kill me. That's the one that really blows your mind. You know, what are you afraid of? You have the right to defend yourself. If you feel threatened in this country, you can shoot the bastards. You know, you're not going to take a knife to a gunfight, but you take a gun to a knife fight if they're going to come and kill you. You can't be defenseless. A baseball bat, that's nasty. And you can only swing so many times. And let me tell you, here in New Jersey, we have a 10-round magazine limit. You're not allowed to have anything more than 10 rounds in your magazine. Okay. 10-round magazine and semi-automatic firearms. Years ago, they made a thing called a street sweeper. It was a 12-gauge shotgun it was a pump gun. Well, I guess it was automatic. Was it automatic? That thing was automatic. But a pump shotgun with a street sweeper attachment on it, which is basically a drum magazine that goes on the bottom of an 870 Wingmaster or Express or any of the other. That would be awesome. Yeah. Just don't put more than 10 rounds in it. But they do make a magazine extender that'll give you 9, which is cool. But because it's a pump gun, you can put a 50-round drum underneath it. It doesn't matter. So, anyway, of course, there's probably some politician watching this saying, "Oh my God, he's gonna start building and selling pump gun drum magazines, and we'll have to outlaw that too." So, actually, I like the what the hell did they call that thing? It was a double barrel, double pump, 12-gauge shotgun. God, what did they call that thing? I saw it on Hickok 45. I mean, you get 6 and 6, so you got 12 rounds. Boom, boom, pull the trigger twice. So it's like a semi-automatic pump shotgun, which is really cool. But yeah, pull the trigger twice. Clunk, clunk, boom, boom. I wonder if it's legal to hunt with that, because it's technically 2 separate shotguns. But in New Jersey, you're only allowed to have one firearm with you when you go hunting. So I imagine that would be kind of tricky. You'd have to plug one barrel you'd have to plug one barrel. So you'd have either 3 shots of one barrel or 2 shots in one barrel, and then, one in the other, so you don't exceed 3. I don't know. It would be interesting. Double barrel pump shotgun. Forget what they called that thing, but it looked cool as hell, and I'd like to buy one. They're expensive, but I'd like to buy one. But anyways, thanks for watching.